Broadcasting from Charlotte, North Carolina, on Sports Byline USA, uniting sports fans everywhere. This is Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson.
I'm not sure that God really cares about my comfort or my happiness so much as he does my holiness and my surrender to him.
For the next hour, we will unpack sports, faith, and life with intriguing guests from the sports and entertainment world.
I've always asked God to use me as an instrument in any way possible if I can help improve the lives of other people.
Bringing you high energy and thought-provoking sports talk with a purpose.
You're going to be defined as a man, as a husband, as a father when you take the uniform off. Who is that guy?
Now, from his mic to your ears, this is Bryce Johnson.
Welcome to Unpacking It, where we unpack sports, faith, and life with intriguing guests from the sports and entertainment world. I'm Bryce Johnson. So glad to be with you today. You can check out our website, unpackingit.com. We have got an awesome show for you as we will be joined by multiple guests that I was able to sit down with this week at the celebrity golf tournament put on by Andy Lee, the punter for the Arizona Cardinals, and they were raising money for Madelyn's fund. And so we were able to sit down with Roman Harper and Andy Lee, and Madelyn's fund is just an incredible mission, and their goal is to support infant and pediatric patients in the NICU and their families, as well as those who experience the trauma of infant loss. And Andy Lee and his wife, unfortunately, sadly, tragically, experienced that themselves, and it gave them the motivation to start Madelyn's fund in the honor of their daughter. And so Andy will join us in just a little bit to talk more about that and to share part of his story. And so you'll definitely want to stick around for that. First up, we'll have Roman Harper. He won a Super Bowl with the New Orleans Saints, and so he will join us next. And then later on during the show, we'll do our segment Unpack This about accountability and some changes that the Tampa Bay Bucks are making. So we've got a big show in store. We're coming to you on Sports Byline USA, Sirius XM Channel 211, Dan Patrick Radio, the TuneIn Radio app, the iHeartRadio app, and our podcast can always be found on unpackingit.com. We're just getting started. Roman Harper is next.
Inspiring conversations and intriguing interviews. More Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson after this. Bringing you unique insight into the faith and character of guests from the sports world. Welcome back to Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson.
It's Unpacking It. I'm Bryce Johnson. Check out our website, unpackingit.com. Sitting down right now with Roman Harper, former NFL safety and Super Bowl winner with the New Orleans Saints. He played his college football at Alabama and was drafted in the second round of the 2006 NFL Draft. And Roman, thanks so much for joining us here on Unpacking It. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you. That was a great introduction right there.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you on. And first off, you've been retired now for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. How's it been going, and what have you been up to?
Man, it's been going. Really just figuring out who I am as a person, as a man, as a husband, as a father. That's just what I do. And I always told myself I wanted to play 10 years. I made 11, and then from there, once I retired, I want to take 365 days and do absolutely nothing.
Wow. So
I did that. And then after that, I came out of my slumber, and I've been the wheels have been turning, trying to do some different things. I took a business class at Columbia University last summer about VC, early stage venture capitalists, things like that. So that was really good, entrepreneurship. So that was a really good thing, just really trying to switch my mindset to doing other things outside of football and continue to grow. And it's been going well. That, I do a little TV here at the local station here called Morning Break. I have a great time doing that. It's really cool hanging out with those people and talking about just normal everyday stuff, not always sports. That's fun. And then I do a radio show also with Kyle Bailey. I'm on with him at times, a couple times a week. They want me more. I'm just way too busy at times, and just want to hunker down and do some things. So, but yeah, that's it, man. That's me. And then I'm a full-time dad. Also.
There you go.
Daddy daycare never stops.
That's awesome. Well, I want to go back to the 365 days off. So what did that look like? What did it look like to do nothing?
You know, it's crazy because most football people they can speak of, or athletes in general, is, you know, I've been playing football since organizational-wise. I always played in the yard with my brothers and everything. But after that, you know, organizational-wise, I've been playing since I was about 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So 4th grade. So from whatever that age is to, you know, almost 35 years old, I was told where I need to be every August. Every week you have a schedule. You're getting ready for the grind. And then next you know, you don't have anybody to tell you where you're supposed to go. And that freedom right there gave me a little bit of relaxed feeling. It was awesome to be able to have control of my own say-so, my own want to, be in time with my family, things like that. Really just getting to know Roman. It was good.
And what were some things that maybe you learned about yourself or things that you're willing to share that kind of were takeaways from that, from a personal standpoint?
You know, I don't think I don't miss football.
Oh, wow.
That was good. Because you hear all the danger stories and this, that, and the other, and I don't miss it. So that's good, man. That lets me know that I do have purpose. God has shown me that I'm not here just to play football. It's part of my life, part of my journey, but it's not who I am as a complete whole.
That's right.
It will always be part of me because it is me. But at the end of the day, and it's allowed me to be who I am and given me and opened up so many doors and doing like that. So just knowing that right there, I've been very happy. And sometimes that I don't have everything figured out in life, but I don't really fret over it because I know He's got me. And He's blessed me so much my whole life. Why all of a sudden now would I stop being blessed over different things? So that right there just lets me, I'm cool and I enjoy every bit of it. I get to be a father. I get to see my kids grow up. Not everybody has that, and it's a really great time. And I got an amazing wife, great parents, and I'm cool, man. It's good.
That's awesome. Former NFL safety Roman Harper with us here on Unpacking It. And so you mentioned your kids. How old are they, and what's kind of the season of life as a dad?
All right. It's the only thing about parenting that I love is that you don't know anything, right? The moment you think you got it, you don't. And that's the wherewithal to be able to do that. It's like in-game adjustments to me. I love it. It brings me back on the field because, like, you know, you think you know, you've been watching film, and like, no, that's not what they're doing. It's great. You don't always know, and it's fast and it's furious at times. So my oldest daughter is London. She's 7, London with a Y. And then we have Sydney, which Sydney turns 5 in June. She's 4, but she's a good one. And then my son, Roman II, he turns 3 in like another week or so on the 21st.
Very cool. That's awesome. And so what does it look like day to day? What are some of the challenges for you and to now just be around more often where you don't necessarily have the football schedule that takes you away? What was that kind of maybe change like for you?
It's been, you know, I'm just more involved. I also know that me and my wife, we built a house here in Charlotte. So I also need to get out of her way sometimes too. I understand that. So I think it's good for me to be on the road at times, or sometimes I need to be going. I think she does well when I'm not here all the time as well. And but we balance each other really good. And, you know, it's just, I just try and get through breakfast. That's my goal. Just get through breakfast. All right. We got to get up. You know, my wife usually gets up with the oldest one because she has to be on the bus earlier than the younger kids who are not. They're still at a Montessori school, so they don't have to be there till 9. London has to be there at 7:25 on her bus. So Heather usually gets up with London earlier. If not, then it's me. And then we just work through it, man. Hopefully I can get these other 2 out to school. Boom, boom. I take the other 2 to school. And I just try and get through breakfast. If I can get there about 9:30, I'm good. I don't care about them being late. That does not bother me. All right?
I love it.
I pay you to look after my kids and teach them on the way. Then do that. And, you know, I don't care if I'm 15 minutes late. I don't care.
You'll get them there.
Yeah, I'll get them there. And I don't care. And just get them through that. And then after that, I make a day out of it, man. I work out. I do some other good things. I read some. And you know, that's what I do.
There you go. Roman Harper, our guest right now on Unpacking It. And so you mentioned having some interest on the business side, the media side. What are you kind of looking for? And do you feel the pressure that, I got to decide a certain way to go? Or are you trying to say, no, I'm gonna do as many things as I can? What's kind of that thought process?
Yeah, and I think that's that's a good and a bad thing for myself, is that I don't want to just like pick something, and I do want to be on TV doing football stuff, and because I did that last year with the New Orleans Saints, the local station Saints on 6. So that was really fun for me, getting to hang out with those guys, getting to know that side of the game, the business of it. I know the football side, and I know what it's like upstairs, but that side of it, the media side, the media coverage of football and sports, I really enjoy that. That's also why I'm doing some radio and also some TV and just regular talk shows in the morning. So that gives me a realm of all type of things. And it also helps me in my interview process as well, with me being the interviewer and not the interviewee. So that right there is really a different kind of talent, and it takes a different person to be able to engage and talk. And that right there is it's a challenge for me, and I like that. So and also the business side on the side, where I'm trying to help start a little fund and do some other little things, and engaging in some more startups, and really trying to throw myself in that realm as well, because that very, very intrigues me a lot. And, I've been afforded a little bit of some things that I can maybe take some risks in some other areas and really just be involved in that realm. I really enjoy it. I think it's so many smart people in this world, and you could learn from so many different characters in life, from older guys and younger guys that have made mistakes in different areas and have seen the business side of this world of the United States change the last 20, 15 years, 30 years, and they've seen it, and it's just good to be around those people, and you can learn so many things. I don't think I got life figured out at all, but that right there, me just staying green and trying to always learn, I think it's been a benefit of mine.
Yeah, where does that come from? Because not everybody's a learner. Not everybody likes to read. Not everybody likes to seek out advice. A lot of people just think, well, I got to figure it out, or I'll figure it out on my own. So where does that stem from for you?
I guess just my parents. My mom always instilled me, like, education, how important it was, and things like that. And I'm not saying I'm a studious guy at all, but I've always enjoyed learning. I've always been
you don't necessarily even have to be studious just to learn every day with whoever you talk to.
Right. And my dad used to always tell me that, though. He's like, look, son, the day you stop learning is the day you die.
Yeah.
So you can learn something every day.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day. And from there, I just always try to just take in as many information as I can. And I ask people questions. I'm always trying to be engaged, because you can learn from a homeless man on the street.
Oh, yeah.
At some point in time, he had a winning day. And what was that winning like for you? You know what I mean? I know my most winningest days, or a winning moment in my life. And everybody has them. And just like that, everybody has their lows too. So we're all one people, man. And we're not too much different than everybody else. We all got our skeletons in our closet. Nobody's perfect.
He's Roman Harper, Super Bowl winner. I'm Bryce Johnson. We're just getting started. More of our conversation with Roman right after this on Unpacking It and unpackingit.com.
Intriguing guests and inspiring conversations. This is Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson.
Thanks so much for joining us on Unpacking It. Unpackingit.com is our website. I'm Bryce Johnson.
Roman Harper, our guest right now on Unpacking It, and a former NFL safety, won a Super Bowl with the New Orleans Saints, and now has been retired for a couple of seasons. And you mentioned learning what it means to be an interviewer versus throughout your career, you've been the interviewee, and of course today you're the interviewee. But what have you learned just from that regard?
To, I guess, have a couple questions in mind or something that you want to do it, but let them take the interview wherever you want it to go, and have a couple things in mind or something that you may want to go, but it should be just fluid conversation. If we can just sit up here and talk, and don't just be stuck on this one question that you just got to get out. Hey, look, if he wants to take it somewhere else, you let him go, or she. And then from there, you just kind of play with it and just get good vibes. And I think that right there makes it a lot more natural. It seems more of a and that's what always good TV or good conversation is. It's just a natural flow and going back and forth. And I think that's one thing I had and that I learned. I also did NFL broadcast boot camp.
Oh, you
did?
Well. Yeah.
I did that as well.
Nice.
I told you, it's
awesome.
I started doing all kinds of stuff. It was good. So it got me involved, and it also showed me how much the work it takes to be prepared for those things as well.
That's right.
that's also why I like doing some radio TV, because now I'm naturally a sports fan, but now it just gives me more incentive to like.
It gives you an excuse.
Yeah, it gives me an excuse to like just watch more sports. I'm cool with that.
I'm right there with you. Absolutely. I've been tricking my wife for a while now. Roman Harper, our guest right now on Unpacking It, and we're talking football and media, and you mentioned the broadcast boot camp, teaching NFL players kind of coming out of the league how to go down that route and learn some different skills. Who are some guys maybe you've looked up to that you've seen on TV or heard on radio that are, whether former players or not, that you've kind of admired their skills?
So first and foremost, growing up, everybody loved Chris Berman. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That was like the man, all right? And then now you see one of my other favorites now is SVP. Scott Van Pelt. I just like how he makes fun of himself with the other lookalikes. It's like hilarious. That makes me laugh. But anyways, people like Ryan Clark, one of my best friends, Jonathan Vilma, he's doing really well and really doing well. Greg McElroy has done awesome. Things like that, man. Yeah. And it's been really cool just actually getting to know that side. I think Booker McFarland is amazing. And I'm intrigued by it, but you know, everybody had their own path, and I can't sit up here and say, "Oh, I want this and I want that." And who even says I'm prepared for it if it was given to me? And then at the same time, I'll just continue to do me, and I'm going to continue to grind and find my own little path, and it'll work out. I'm really happy and excited for what God has for me in my future. I really am. It's been an amazing ride. I played football. I've been so blessed, and now we can, I'm afforded a little time to kind of figure out these things out, and things have been going well, so it's good.
That's awesome. Yeah, you sound like you're at peace, which is a great spot to be in, especially with a lot of guys that transition out of the NFL. Not always the case. They're wrestling a lot.
It's a hard thing because all you know is football for so long, and it's allowed you to do the different things. It's allowed me to have these cars and my house and all these other things, but at the end of the day, it's just this amount of time in your life. It's not but a small, minuscule part of it. You be 35, 36, quarterback's 40, and you still got to figure out the rest of your life. You're afforded a larger, you get your golden egg of, money, because most people in America, they make all their money when they're like 40s and up.
Yeah.
That's when they make the majority of the bulk of their money, is when they get older. We're on the other end of the spectrum. We make all our money between like 21 and like 35. And then over that, you got to like hold on, and then you got to find other avenues to make more money and do other things and be successful in other avenues, and not just lean on that, but also take that and grow from it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to just stay in that lane. And so that's my life.
Roman Harper, our guest right now on Unpacking It. But we love talking football and life and also just the faith side of things. And so you've alluded to it a few times, just kind of getting to this place of understanding that you're more than a football player and what your identity is. And so going to maybe a little bit further into that, what has God been teaching you recently? What's really been on your heart, some things that maybe you've just kind of been clinging to, or something that God's really revealed to you lately?
That he still got me, and that it has to be on. It's not always on my time. It's not on my time, and I just got to stay on this path, man, and just continue to believe in him. Understand, just continue to keep the faith, and don't waver on it, and just stay there. Just stay in my lane. He knows I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be right all the time, but I'm going to continue to love him first and foremost. I'm going to love my wife. I'm going to love my family, keep those the ones that I love, prayed for a lot, and also keep them close to me. So, and time is sensitive, man. Life is sensitive, and enjoy the ones that I'm with, my parents, every time I get to see them, every time they get to come see their grandkids. Don't take things like that for granted, man, and just continue to just continue to believe in him, man. I'm not going to waver on that, and at the end of the day, I think everything's going to be just fine if I do that. And he's always worked out everything else for me, and I don't seem like I'm lost. I feel like I got a game plan in my life, and I'm just trying to do more of it, man, and just find other ways to be successful and continue to let him just lead me.
That's cool. So in what ways do you pursue him, or what ways do you look to grow and mature your faith? And
you got to have a church base. Boom, got that check. And look, man, I started this journey a couple years ago. I've been reading my Bible, so I was like, you know what? You always hear these stories about the Bible, and, you read little passages here and there and your little daily things, and I was like, you know what? I've never read the whole Bible. So I started this journey, about a year and a half ago, 2 years now, because, it was my last year in New Orleans. And I'm not all the way done. I don't try and read too much. I want to try and absorb it, read just a little bit at a time. But I had some Jewish friends, and to them I was always thought, in my mind, is in Christianity, they always said that if you believe it wholeheartedly with your heart and your soul and confirm it with your mouth that, Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior, you'll go to heaven. And Jewish people, if they don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah or whoever, he was just a prophet to them, then where does it go? And then, so I just their Bible's just the first
the
books.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, well, I just want to read that. I want to know the Jewish. So then I started there, and I just kept going. And now I'm on Proverbs now, and it's been going great, man. Psalms was very long.
Yeah.
Very long. But Proverbs is really giving some energy and some flow to me already after all that. So, yeah, man, it's been good.
So you've gone from start to finish. You're going right through the book.
I'm going right through the book. So then
Wow,
I can never have anybody tell me, they're not going to tell me the story. I'm going to be able to, say, well, I read the whole Bible. So,
Yeah.
And I'm not going to remember it all and be able to do it verbatim, but I can say I've done this, and I always have a reference. Well, oh, yeah, I heard this. I did remember reading. You know how it is. It's a very long book, so you're not going to remember every single detail.
No.
But you will have recollections of what was what, how wise Solomon was, all these other things, and they talk about the kings, and, from King David all the way down, and you have a reference point, like, oh, okay, was that? Okay. So it's good, man. It's been great. So that's what I do.
That's awesome.
So I try and read a little bit every day.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing, man. That's how that helps me keep my faith.
That's awesome. Roman Harper, our guest right now on Unpacking It. Was there a story that you read maybe in the Old Testament that it hit you differently this time around, like reading through it, where you thought maybe you knew the story growing up? Or
Yeah, man. Every king has had their thorn. Every single one of them. And then some kings, they were just they were not even about Christ. And they just continue to just go downhill and downhill. And then eventually people start begging, and then God would come back and save them, like he always does to his people. He never lets them go. And it's through the same pattern over and over. I'm like, dude, we've been repeating it ourselves since the beginning of time. And it all started with Adam and Eve in the garden, all right?
Yep.
And they fell for it then. Then you fall out, because then that was the first time they actually noticed that they were not naked anymore.
Yep.
It was like, whoa. Oh, so now, and that's what started it all. And then from there, it's just continue to just spiral and go, and then we save us and come here. But it's been an amazing story that I can actually say I've been reading the Bible, and I can have reference points.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm in the process as well. And
oh, you are?
My strategy is it's a book that they put the Bible together in, and each day has daily reading. So it's an Old Testament passage, a New Testament passage, a proverb, and a psalm. And so that's kind of how I'm at.
Yeah.
So I'm 7 or 8 months in.
Nice.
So I've been working through that. But it is. I'm right there with you. Where
my wife is doing something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. So you look at it, man. The historical side of things, it's amazing. But then just the power and the spirit and the way that it changes you day to day is awesome.
It's the living word, man. The fact that it's still living. The fact that it's so relatable to right now in your own life.
That's right.
And it never. That is the thing that I appreciate about it. It truly is the living word, in that it's so relatable to what they can talk about, all those things all the way back then.
Yep.
To where now it's so relative in just the everyday life that you see and walk around with every day right now.
It's the same God.
It's the same God, man. It's just crazy, and having the faith and trying to walk it, man, and understanding that the easy part was getting saved. So once you became saved, man, now you look at sin completely different. Now he took the wool from over your eyes.
Yeah.
And now I recognize what sin is way more than when I was just partying and kicking and doing my thing. I never even thought about those things. And now I look at it differently. I look at life differently. And I just try and walk it. And once you got saved, then trying to stay and walk that hard walk with Christ and picking up that cross and walking with it, man, that's the hard part. It's not getting saved is the easy part. Now you got to really do it. That's the hard part, I feel like.
Obedience.
And faith, and just in keeping it, man. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be, but if the only perfect person we ever had walking this earth got crucified and went through a lot of hard times, why should you get it easy? You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. We experience part of that suffering and understand. He understands what we're going through, and that's who we serve, and that's who we follow. And so I'm right there with you. Very thankful for Jesus. So, man, We could talk all day,
We
and
could.
and we'll do this again, and really appreciate you stopping by. He's Roman Harper, Super Bowl winner, former NFL safety, sitting down with us here on Unpacking It. Thanks so much, Roman.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
It was really cool to sit down with Roman. Coming up next, we'll hear how Andy Lee, punter for the Arizona Cardinals, is turning a major tragedy into impact. Right here on Unpacking It.
Going beyond the field. This is Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson on Sports Byline USA.
Hey, it's Bryce Johnson, and it is time to start thinking about the upcoming fantasy football season. And good news, Unpacking It Ministries has a resource for you that will take you from the draft all the way through the championship. Order your Fantasy Football Fellowship playbook today, and each week, read about a fantasy concept and how it relates to the Bible and our own lives. It's designed for your league to discuss at weekly league meetings, on the phone, or in person. The FFF playbook will add more meaning and purpose to the fantasy season and add value to your league. Grow in your faith, build deeper relationships with other owners in the league, and make more of your fantasy season. Join us at fantasyfootballfellowship.org and find all the details and order the FFF playbook today. That's fantasyfootballfellowship.org.
Bringing you unique insight into the faith and character of guests from the sports world. Welcome back to Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson.
I'm Bryce Johnson. We're unpacking sports, faith, and life, and it's our hope that each week you are encouraged, challenged, and inspired. And we've got another powerful interview for you.
Right now, I am joined by the punter for the Arizona Cardinals, Andy Lee, and he sits down with us right here on Unpacking It to talk a little faith, football, and life, and hear all about Madelyn's fund. And Andy, so glad to be with you today. How are you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on, and it's just a great time to be out here and have a golf tournament. It's great weather. I'm really excited for today.
That's right. So we're in the kind of the middle of the off season, especially for veterans like yourself. So how has the off season been, and how are you looking to this upcoming season?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, the big thing I try to do in the off season, just rest first of all, get my body back. I'm 36 now, almost 37, so the rest is big, and then just working out, trying to regain some of that strength that you kind of lose during the season, and then big time to hang out with my family. That's what I try to do in the off season, hang out with my family, because I know when the season comes, I'm away, and it's a tough time for that. So just get all that in right now and just get ready for the season, and really excited for it.
Very, very cool. We're talking with Andy Lee here on Unpacking It. He's the punter for the Arizona Cardinals, and we're here at his celebrity golf tournament, and it's to raise money for Madelyn's fund. And it's really just an awesome organization and what they do with the money raised. And so I'd love to hear what you guys do, and then we'll talk about kind of why you do it.
So we financially assist families in the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit, with if they have a baby there, they'll have bills. They have like gas cards, funeral expenses. We cover all that stuff for them. Our goal is to take a little bit of a stress off of a family that's in an already horribly stressful situation. And the one way we thought about we could do that is money is a big stressor in everybody's life. So if we can take a little bit of that burden away, maybe that would give them a little bit more time to focus on their baby, or whatever they need to do at that time. Or if they're grieving, like that's the worst thing, to not have the money to actually have a proper burial or anything like that. So we just wanted to be able to help out in those ways.
So when people hear the word NICU, they may be familiar with it. No, it doesn't sound good, but what goes into it, especially from a financial standpoint, that so many families are facing once they find out that their baby's going to have to spend even a day, but sometimes a month or 2 months in the NICU, the burden that causes them.
Oh, I mean, it's huge on families, because a lot of the times, especially like you have a newborn, one of the biggest things, and there's research that proves it, is the mother-baby time. Like even though like normally in the NICU you're not able to hold the baby that in most circumstances, things like that, but just that bonding time that they get together, it's proven for developmental things later on in life. So if you're like if the mom can't be there because she has to work, then she's not around her baby. So we try to help families that are involved with their baby's life, because maybe they had to leave work. Well, if they leave work, now they can't afford possibly to get to the hospital. They can't afford some bills at home, or tons of different circumstances in that way. So that's one thing that we really thought would be a big need, and it actually has proven to be a big need. We've been helping families for a little over 2.5 years now. We've helped 484 families, I think. In that time, we've done 82 funerals out of those. So it's been a blessing for us, especially because of why we started this being such a tragic event in our lives.
That's right. Andy Lee, our guest right now on Unpacking It. We're here in Charlotte at the Madelyn's Fund Celebrity Golf Tournament, and Andy alluded to the tragedy that took place in their life that ended up giving them the inspiration to start Madelyn's Fund. And so would love for you to share a little bit about the why behind Madelyn's Fund and what you and your family experienced.
All right. Basically, long story short, that's the easiest way for me to do this, and for me, easiest way for me not to get upset. We had Madelyn on January 27th. She was in the NICU this was 4 years ago, and she was in the NICU for she had some problems with delivery. She swallowed some fluid. So she was a C-section, so she had some breathing issues. So they took her into the NICU, helped her to clear out her lungs and everything, and she was on a breathing machine for the first couple days, and then she started getting better. Took her off the breathing machine. Probably it was like day 4, day 5, and she was doing good for about 12 hours, and then she started having problems breathing again. Day 6, she ended up getting an infection. Her body basically just couldn't fight it, and on the 8th day, she passed away.
Oh. Gosh, it's just you never want to have anyone experience this, and so the pain that you felt, the emotions that you felt, ultimately led you to say, okay, we know what other people are experiencing. How can we help them? So what was that process like to get to the point of saying, okay, this is awful what we experienced, but let's not let it stay there. Let's be able to have an impact on others.
Yes. So I'd say the first 3 to 4 months after she passed away were just kind of a blur, kind of just miserable. One thing that helped us, we do have 2 older boys, so we had to get up every day. We had to be parents. We had to go through all that. So I think that helped us. On our year anniversary, which is in March, which was about a year after that, when we went on our anniversary trip for me and my wife in March, we kind of sit down and we're like, we want to do something. So that was in 2016, and then by that December, about 2.5 years ago, we were up and running with Madelyn's Fund. So we just were like, what can we do? What we really wanted to center it around funerals, because that was one thing. That's one of the big things we do as well, as far as the other assistants we help with. But the biggest thing was we were just like, we didn't have to worry about money. It was just kind of like, okay, call the funeral home, do this, which is the worst thing to ever have to do, especially for your kid. So that's one thing I had to deal with. But I was thinking like, oh, this is not cheap, bought all this stuff. I mean, one thing we were just like, that's what we should do. Like the worst thing, because you need each other during that time, and the worst thing you can do is fight about, we don't have enough money to do this, we don't have enough money to do that. So we thought we would do something to help those families, like at least alleviate that part of stress, and allow them to like mourn their child, or just allow them to be there for their child,
Gosh. Andy Lee, our guest right now on Unpacking It, punter for the Arizona Cardinals, and here raising money for Madelyn's Fund, helping families dealing with the loss of an infant, and also the expenses that go into having a child in NICU. And so, I mean, it's just such a tough experience for you and your family, and to even have to relive it is I'm sure challenging. But as you look back, and even day to day, how has your faith allowed you to continue to persevere? And how has God really revealed himself and met you in this place?
I mean, I think it's been huge. I mean, I would say that's the only thing that's really gotten us through. Knowing that one day I will see my daughter again, it's awesome. I do miss her. But knowing that, she's in the best place in the world, and she's no more. She has no more pain, no more hurt, no more anything. It's awesome. I would say that there are still times where I struggle with God, like why?
Yeah. Even
Even though I know why. Obviously, we think there was something wrong with her immune system because it was a simple infection that she couldn't fight. So we know she's in a better place. We know she probably wouldn't have been happy here if she stayed here long or any longer. So I've come to grips with that, but I think it's still at times it's a tough struggle. But just knowing our faith has stayed strong through this, it's actually grown through this between me and my wife and personally. It's been a horrible experience, but then again, we've tried to do whatever we could to start Madelyn's Fund to honor her and also do something in her honor to create some good out of the bad situation that happened to us.
Well, and how important has that been for you, just in the grief process, to be able to continue to honor her and continue to make her, really a part of your life in the way that you're raising money for other people in her name and in her honor? How does that just contribute to your day-to-day? I don't know, joy despite the circumstance?
I mean, it helps a ton. I mean, I think it's been the best counseling for my wife and I because it's not the easiest thing to discuss and talk about, especially right after it happened. And this made us talk about her. It made us remember her. It made us, not to say we didn't want to or we didn't do it before, but it almost shed a positive light on her life rather than the negative thought of her passing away and not being here anymore, if that makes sense. So it's a lot of work because me and my wife do this. Like we run this. We do have one employee now, but she's it's amazing the things she does for our nonprofit and everything how hard she works, and it's a blessing to see her doing this, and it's just been, I'm kind of lost for words, but it's just amazing. It also, I feel like it shows just the love that my wife has. It's a way for her to be a mother still, I think, so I think that's something that keeps her driving. And then times get tough, we get a letter. It's amazing how I feel like God sends things to us at certain times. Like we could be like, in the middle of doing something and it just be like, oh, this is so much work. And then all of a sudden we get a letter from a family and it just proves how much everything it's worth doing what we're doing. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. No, you're doing incredible work and it's awesome. Madelyn's Fund is what it's called, and encourage people to check it out and be able to donate and support this and really support other families. And I know people listening today, there's got to be people that either know someone or have even experienced it themselves in some way, but specifically for those who know someone, what's something that you would encourage them to say or not to say, to do or not to do during situations like this?
I'd say that's a real tough question. For me and my wife, I would say the biggest thing would be reach out. Even if you feel like you're going to be a bother or you don't know what to say, I would say just reach out and just be a friend, if that makes sense. Don't reach, I would say it's not, obviously, if you've been through it, obviously reach out and, let them know, hey, I know what you're going through. I know this, that's not the right thing to say if you haven't been through it, because that would be kind of that, we had, I would say that would be rough, but I would say just reaching out. And my wife was not okay for at least a year. But she acted okay in public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everybody just assumed she was okay. Don't assume that the person's okay just because they're acting normal.
Wow.
I think people checking in, especially just to see how they're doing. I don't expect people to call my wife 4 years, it's been 4 years. I don't expect them to call me, how are you doing with this? I can understand that now it's kind of, but I would say it takes a long time. We're not over it still. I don't think we'll ever be over it. But I think the biggest thing is knowing that if you've never been through this, it's not okay. They're never okay. So it's always awesome to ask no matter how long it's been.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
And especially, knowing some of the moments during the year to be able to remember and think back and to reach out in those moments as well. Well, Andy, man, it's a tough thing to talk about, but I'm encouraged with what you guys are doing with Madelyn's Fund moving forward, and to be able to honor your daughter and encouraged by your faith through it, and the way that you and your wife now are able to work on this together, I think is really cool and a neat testimony as well. So thanks for allowing us to be a part of it, and thanks for sharing with our audience today, because I think it's a great message to get out there, and I really hope that people will get behind this, support it. Again, it's called Madelyn's Fund, madelyn'sfund.org.
.org, and it's MADELYNSFUND.org. I appreciate you having me.
Coming up next, we'll do our segment Unpack This about accountability and the Tampa Bay Bucks right here on Unpacking It.
Inspiring conversations and intriguing interviews. More Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson after this.
This is Unpacking It. I'm Bryce Johnson. It's time for our final segment of the day. We call it Unpack This, where I take a current sports story and relate it to the Bible and our own lives. So let's jump right in. The Tampa Bay Bucks haven't made the playoffs since 2007. However, they have a new head coach, Bruce Arians, who has been around the NFL for a long time and brings a level of credibility and experience that should prove to be very valuable to the locker room. One of the changes already being felt, according to Bucs center Ryan Jensen, is the accountability required. He recently commented, "The one thing that really sticks out to me is the way Bruce Arians is going to keep guys accountable," and says the culture he's trying to set is that it's the players' team, and that comes with players keeping players accountable, and I think that's going to be a big change this year for us. There's no question that being held accountable, whether in football or life, leads to great results. It starts with people understanding the expectations and standards and then discussing whether or not everyone lives up to what they set out to do. Of course, mistakes will be made and people will fall short in certain areas. But when there's a culture of accountability, everyone is able to figure out what went wrong, why it happened, and how to fix it moving forward. Instead of trying to hide our mishaps or weaknesses, we get it out there so others can come alongside us. The Bible says to confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed. We should point each other toward Jesus and his grace as we hold each other accountable to live a life of obedience while strengthening one another. The Bible says, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another today. Let's not fear transparency or run from accountability, but surround ourselves with people who will encourage us to persevere and grow to become more like Jesus. So I hope you're willing to unpack that for yourselves, and really appreciate you joining me today, and hope you'll stay connected with us throughout the week on social media and on unpackingit.com. If you have any thoughts about today's show, you can email me, Bryce@unpackingit.com. Until next time, I'm Bryce Johnson. I'm a sports fan who follows Jesus. I believe in the good news that he died on the cross for my sins, he was resurrected, and through faith, I have been saved by his grace. I hope that is true for you as well, and I hope you'll join me as we live life as sports fans who follow Jesus together. Have a wonderful week. This has been Unpacking It with Bryce Johnson on Sports Byline USA and SiriusXM, Channel 211, Dan Patrick Radio.